The mayor's and city manager's press conference for December. This will be the last press conference I have, but the city manager has a lot more to look forward to in the future. But I appreciate you giving us your attention. There are a few things we'd like to talk about, and then there are a couple comments I'd like to make at the end. One thing I'd like to compliment and praise Greater Topeka Partnership, and specifically John Coop, who was the primary engine for the Miracle on Kansas Avenue for our holiday parade. Depending on who you talk to, some people say the crowd was bigger last year than this year. From being in the parade, I think this was the largest crowd I've ever seen for the parade. And the weather was good. So what I really liked is that there were so many kids out there. It got to be almost a hazard, really, that we had so many that were pushing towards the street because they wanted to see the floats and, of course, get the candy. But it was fun to be in that parade just to see Topekans enjoying the holidays. And then they capped it off with the fireworks, which in my lifetime I can't ever remember them doing that. And that really made it special and unique. So they really brought the feeling downtown in Topeka. And I don't want to leave out Westridge Mall, too. I went out there and looked around them. They're keeping the spirit up there. It's good to see the traffic out there at Westridge Mall. It's getting back to where I used to remember it during the holidays, where there are people on both levels. Parking lots got a lot of cars. Shopping's going on. It just shows us that we're using this time of year to really come out and enjoy what we have here in Topeka. So I wanted to really give a shout out to the management out there at Westridge Mall and to Greater Topeka Partnership for the Miracle. It was a great event. Another thing that I had the opportunity to attend, as well as city manager, is Topeka Police Department Academy graduation of their most recent recruit class. They had 18 graduates in this group. I think they started off with maybe 23.
23.
But so some come back later on when they're better prepared for it. But this time around, having that large of a group, that's one of the largest groups we've seen in recent years. And it was good to see the diversity in the group as well. And I liked the fact that they had it at the Topeka Civic Theater. It was a nice ceremony. It gave good recognition to the efforts of those candidates. And I think is it this week now? Immediately they've gone into their field training phase. So that's still another step that they have to get through in order to complete their training prior to being let off probation. But it was really great to see that many people there. I think, city manager, where are we now in the personnel staff over there?
So we currently have 12 vacancies, and I think that may or may not be before the retirement of Assistant Chief Klump. So we're sitting right about 270, just north of 270 filled positions out of 285. And on that note, I also wanted to give kudos, thanks, and praise to now retired Assistant Chief Klump, 31 years with the Topeka Police Department. And so he did a lot for the department and definitely helped bring the department to where it's at today.
Yes, I'm glad you said something about that, because when I had the opportunity to recognize him at the ceremony, it's important to notice that I gave him what he deserved, and that was praise for his success in his professional career and in his private efforts with regards to education. Dr. Klump pursued that while he was an officer with the police department, and that's not the norm, but it is not unusual for a lot of those officers there to hold degrees that I think a lot of people don't think that the officers have that educational level. But I know that there's plenty of officers down there with associates and masters and bachelor's degrees. I know that they have one who's master's in forensic science down there. So, I mean, we have good quality officers. So, I want to reassure the people of this city that we have good personnel working on their behalf at the Topeka Police Department. So it was good to be in attendance there, and there was a huge crowd. So it shows that the families support those officers as well. So there's one thing else we usually is brought up, but it's brought up in a much different phase and tone right now, I think, and that's the Hotel Topeka. And I'll ask the city manager to address that.
Thank you, Mayor. So last week, well, first I'll just say that the Topeka Hotel Topeka, is under contract currently. Thank you to the efforts of Deputy City Manager Copley, as well as our TDC. The TDC approved a sale agreement with Endeavor Hotel Group last week. At this point, we have a 120-day due diligence period and then another 60 days for closing. So anywhere between now and next June, we hope to finalize the sale. I guess some of the outstanding items are really just the CID that we need to put in place, working with Shawnee County on the Manor Conference Center as well as a hotel. We're looking at putting in place that CID, which will actually help us to recoup the funds for the operating and for the purchase price of the hotel. So very exciting news. That was definitely one of our goals, was to we wanted to have it sold by the end of the year, but having it under contract is very exciting news, and ready to move forward with Mr. Arnold and his vision and plans for both the hotel as well as for Manor Conference Center. The hope is that once we get both facilities updated and running, we can start attracting some of those conferences and some of those events that we've previously lost due to the condition of both the hotel and the Manor. But yeah, this is definitely a big first step as far as identifying and finalizing an agreement with a partner that has a good track record of hotel operations. He's based out of Wichita. Endeavor Hotel Group is based out of Wichita, but they also have a hotel currently operating within the city of Topeka. So definitely excited to get past that first milestone of actually getting an agreement in place and adopted by the TDC.
Mm-hmm. You know, Mr. Arnold, he and I were talking and visiting, and he was talking about his vision for this complex, actually, for the hotel. And it's encouraging to hear that he's not focused on just the hotel itself. He wants to see how it generates activity and revenue for the city of Topeka, which obviously was the sole reason that we took this opportunity, is to get a facility that will help bring more visitors to Topeka and help support our local tax rates. So that is something to really get encouraged by. When he actually made the comment, and I don't want to say it was verbatim, and he can correct me later on if he needs to, but he was saying at one point he'd like to see, because he has like 42, I'd like to see 42 opportunities like Topeka. He said, I'd love to see that happen across the state and the country. He said, I have so many ideas for this property that I'm just excited to get started. And that's encouraging. I think that we will see in short time, once the sale is completed and he's taken possession of the property, that not just the activity level, but the improvements will happen quicker than many of us had even hoped for. So very encouraging news. You know, there's a lot going on in Topeka. There was one thing it caught my eye. It probably didn't get a lot of news coverage, but here in Topeka, we've had for some time a tough time making mental health services available for some part of the population. It's been difficult because we've experienced a reduction in those services over the years by actions that the city had no control over. But we've worked really hard, and Vallejo and the Family Service and Guidance Center have been constant representatives of their resources for the community. And now, I think it's January 1st, yeah, both of those organizations are going to merge into Astra Mental Health and Recovery Services. And that's going to be huge because from my past experience when I was in law enforcement, I know oftentimes some of the conflicts that we have to try and resolve are based in some kind of mental health situation, and having access, ready access for both the people involved, the family members, and for law enforcement to be able to put a focus on getting those persons the help they need. And having this joint venture between these two organizations, I think will really make a difference in how mental health needs are met in the city of Topeka. So I congratulate the leadership from both of those organizations for bringing that about and making that happen. One thing I know that is always a topic, and that's all the cones in the city and all the construction going on, road construction. It's all good because that shows that we're tending to a lot of the issues that we know need to be addressed and are important to the public. And there's a kind of a list of those, and I think City Manager can share with us where we are on those updates.
Before I get there, Mayor, just looking at the Astra, the mental health aspect, I do want to share with the community that they are collaborating with our Topeka Police Department. Chief Vallejo is actually evaluating ways that we can actually have them respond to mental health calls before police officers do. In other cities, there's some other cities that when somebody calls 911, today when somebody calls 911, right, it's either police, fire, or EMS service, right? Mm-hmm. There's some other cities that sometimes, or there's other cities that have, a fourth option, which is police, fire, EMS, or mental health, behavioral health. And so Chief Vallejo is working very closely with Astra to see how they can even get on our own radio system to actually dispatch them ahead of time, ahead of our officers. So looking forward to more details on that as we go into the new year. But since you brought that up, I just thought that I would bring that up so the community was aware of not just the great merger that's coming in, to us, but also the great opportunities for collaboration with them. So
I appreciate that you added the additional information because, as I said, in law enforcement, oftentimes those situations in the community require that kind of a response with some kind of health resources available so that things can be resolved in a different way. We all believe that people who are struggling with mental health situations, they don't need to be in jail per se at all, that they need to get those resources. And having those available, and now with these two groups who have got a great track record of serving our community, putting their resources together, I think that'll really speak well for the effort. And I think law enforcement is ready to have that partnership as well.
Yeah. As well as Topeka Fire. I failed to mention
the
Chief Longstaff is also working with them as well. So speaking of mental health, you talk about construction. But no, it's a lot of work going on within the city. I was driving Topeka Boulevard, driving East 6th Street last week, just checking out the status of some of the work. And I mean, it's one of those things that, you hear the complaints about the condition of the pavement, and then you get something under construction, and it's just like, oh, hey, we're being delayed. And then the joke is, right, like at the end of it, now it's nice and smooth, so we get a lot of speeding on it. But nonetheless, we are continuing to work through all of our construction projects. We're working in every part of the city. Last week, the Public Infrastructure Committee approved the bidding of our some of our pavement preservation projects, and that'll be upcoming in Southeast Topeka next year. And so so just a lot of work going on, and just trying to get things done on budget and on schedule. So that's kind of what I have about as far as infrastructure.
Speaking about construction and moving dirt around town, if you look at that Union project downtown, it's moving along fast. I think we've been fortunate to have good weather to see it move so quickly. Usually the bad weather will slow up, something like that. But, you know, there's a lot of anticipation for those to come to completion so that people who live and work in the downtown area will have that housing available to them. The other thing that I noticed, you know, you drive around town just to see how things are going. And I was out at I-470 and South Topeka Boulevard, across from KTAA, and they're pushing a lot of dirt and trees around out there. So that development has got the go-ahead. And I've talked to the project manager out there, and he said, we're ready to go. He said, we really want to get this project done and up and moving. So there's a feeling of moving forward with opportunities in the city of Topeka. And if you have the opportunity to listen to some of the council meetings, you'll see that the council is taking into consideration some of these projects and authorizing us to move forward so that there are still others that are pending. And I think 26, 27 will really be a boom year for opportunity for the city of Topeka.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Mayor. I mean, again, the City Council approved development incentives for the Union Tower. That's supposed to bring over 200 units of affordable housing to the downtown area. And then last week, City Council also authorized the public hearing for the RHID for Project View, which is another 200 or 197 units of apartments in the downtown area. That one will be a market rate apartment, one of the newer or more modern type apartments in downtown, to include even, the developer told me last week, a rooftop amenity.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, when we talk about, changing the, I guess, the living accessibility to downtown in Topeka, I think, as you mentioned, 26, 27, 28 are going to be great years for the city. I'm very excited. I'm actually sad that you won't be here at this capacity, thinking about it. But yeah, a lot of great things in the works and great things coming to the city.
Yeah, thank you. That Project View, like you said, I want to shout out to Rhiannon Friedman, who was with the city of Topeka for a while, and now she's back at Greater Topeka Partnership. But she has not lost sight at all of these projects that we've been working on for 2 or 3 years. It takes us a while, but I visited some of the properties by Flattery and Collins in Kansas City, and they are high-end quality builds. So it will change downtown significantly because there will be a growth in population that will take advantage of the services that we have downtown, retail, the restaurants. It would just make it more vibrant, and that's what we've continued to try and work toward, is to bring that population together so that they will have even more services available to them. So I'm looking forward to it. Believe me, that's why I do drive around town, just to kind of see how things are going. East Side is getting its attention too. North Side, I know that they're coming along really well on Washburn Tech North. That's another thing that before I leave, I want to make sure I acknowledge the leadership of Dr. Mezicek at Washburn University. We had talks about how we could get Washburn into the community even more so, and she has definitely led the charge for that, with having the 2 tech centers grow and even adding more programs and acknowledging the need for a lot of those programs that aren't traditional college courses, but they fill the need that this whole country sees right now, that is technical skills. They had their largest graduating class this year from their Washburn Tech. So that tells you that there are interested persons and students out there, and they will fill and hopefully all stay in Topeka and be good tradesmen and earn a good living in Topeka. So again, Topeka has everything ready for it, and it is looking forward to the growth that's going to happen in the next 2 to 3 years. And I think everybody will it'll sneak up on it, and they'll say, oh, we didn't realize this was going on, and now look at all that we have. So I'm encouraged that Topeka is in good hands with the governing body and the city manager. Again, you mentioned Deputy City Manager Braxton Copley. He has really been a real hard charger, get things done, and that's important for us. We can have a lot of ideas, but you don't have somebody to keep pushing them forward. Between you and him, that makes a big difference.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if the city manager has anything more he wants to address. I do want to, as my last press conference, if you followed me at the council meeting here recently, we've all taken an opportunity, myself, Neil Dobler, who's also leaving the council, talked about all the people that have been supportive of the efforts of the city and of him personally and of me. And it's going to be impossible to say thank you to everybody without leaving somebody out. And if that happens, accept my apologies for not mentioning you specifically, but I have a list there that I would like to make sure I give some attention to. It was intentional at the State of the Community presentations that myself and a representative from the Shawnee County Commission presented these good things that are happening in Shawnee County and Topeka together. In the past, it was always their presentation and the mayor's presentation. But I asked for, and they quickly agreed to do co-presenting of the positive things in our community. So I want to thank the Shawnee County Commission. Current chair is Commissioner Mays, Commissioner Cook, and Commissioner Rippon. I believe the city has enjoyed a good collaborative relationship. I think we still have a lot to learn to go even further as a joint effort, because as Topeka is successful, so will Shawnee County be successful. So being hand in glove relationship is important. So I encourage that to continue as I leave office. I'm sure it will, because incoming Mayor Duncan has the same belief and outlook that together we can get much more done than separately. So I want to thank them. I also want to thank our Shawnee County legislative body. Their work together in addressing some of the things that we've brought to them as our legislative priorities has been helpful. And, you know, we are the capital city, but sometimes it gets forgotten that this is where a lot of the policies are made. And for us to be active in that process is important. So Topeka has done a great job in doing that. Our former city attorney, Amanda Stanley, and Braxton Copley, they were good representatives presenting all those things that we needed when it came time to appear before the legislature. I want to thank Curtis Sneeden, who took on a role that kind of, I think, came at him unexpectedly as their economic development person out at the MTAA Regional Airport. That has been an asset for the city of Topeka that had been languishing. But with his efforts and the efforts of the rest of the board out there, with the intent to really utilize that facility and make it more of a part of Topeka, so that we see growth there, both in the air industry and hopefully in the future some more air service to the city of Topeka, which will make a difference. So I want to thank Curtis for taking on that role. Cody Foster, I want to thank him for being willing to invest in Topeka the way he has. Everybody takes opportunities as they come to them, but it's important to acknowledge those who take a chance. And I think Mr. Foster took a chance on West Ridge Mall, and he did it on behalf of this community. this community needs that mall, and his efforts in that area are very appreciative. I think, as I mentioned earlier, I'm beginning to see it look like it used to be, a very busy retail place for the citizens. So I want to thank his investments. I want to thank Pastor Sublett. I spent a little bit of time with him this last week, again, looking at all he is accomplishing out there in Highcrest. Growing up here in Topeka, I know that that part of town has always been challenged. Even when I was doing my campaign for the district and mayor, I spent a lot of time walking through that neighborhood, and I've seen changes happening, changes that I didn't see coming, because every effort seemed to kind of start and then fail. But he has sustained, he keeps growing in what he's bringing to that community out there. I think he's shown the way for a lot of others as well. I know that there are other cities who have come to Topeka just to visit with him to see what he is developing out there in Highcrest. And so I want to thank him for his efforts in that part of the city, and actually for the city as a whole, because what he's doing there can be replicated in different parts of the city. You just need somebody like Pastor Sublett to have the vision and carry it through. So I want to thank him very much. I also wanted to thank Don McWilliams. Spent some time, I've known the Boys and Girls Club forever. For a short time, I did a little bit of boxing with the Boys and Girls Club when they were down on Washington Street. And Coach Whitty, I knew him from back then. She does an amazing job with the resources that she has for some of the youth in our community that may not have the accessibility to high-end organized sports that cost a lot of money to participate in. You want to play soccer, you want to play baseball at any level anymore, you got to have access to it, and you've got to have the funds to get to it. And for a lot of kids, that's difficult. So she pays attention to those kids who still want to be able to participate, have fun, and have safe place to play and enjoy and learn. And if you ever get a chance to go out there and see what they're doing and anticipate the addition that they're building, will only enhance everything that they bring to the community. So my thanks to Don McWilliams and her staff. When I go out there, every now and then I see a former police officer out there working now. She decided that after she retired from the police department, acknowledging that so much good work was being done at the Boys and Girls Club, she decided to go out there and work with them. And I think that's great. I think that's the kind of thing that needs to happen, that we see where we can help out after we've maybe retired from a full-time job, or you just want a part-time volunteer. So I want to thank her. And of course, city manager. I've enjoyed working with him since he's come to Topeka. We've had bumpy rides, not with him, but with other city managers, and everybody's different. Everybody comes at the job in a different way. What I liked about Dr. Perez when I first started visiting and working with him is, and it's funny, we would be talking about something, or maybe it was a thought or idea I had, and I always see his eyes look up, and I could hear the wheels moving. I could hear him think, oh yeah, and as soon as I got done, oh yeah, and you know what, we could do this or we could do that. He's got a vision that has to go hand in hand with skills and abilities that you have learned over time. And so that vision is encouraging, and it's what I think we need for the future. So I want to thank you, Dr. Perez, for everything you've done already, and I'm really looking forward to what you're going to do in the future. And of course, I have to say it, and they're not last. In fact, they're at the top of the list. But I wanted to make sure that they didn't get forgotten as I went down the list. And that's my wife, my son, and my daughter. They've endured a lot with me. not knowing whether I'm going to be available for family functions or be able to be at a christening or birthday. It's kind of like when I was a police officer. You got to show up when they need you. And that sometimes takes you away from family. And that's the biggest thing that I focus on now. And when asked often recently, what are your plans for the future? Those are my plans for the future, is to spend as much time as possible with my family. So I want to thank them for everything that they've let me do. It's because of their patience with me that I've been able to do that. So that's the last thing I'd like to say. And City Manager, or any questions?
I just wanted to say thank you for your comments, and I'm glad you didn't think I was rolling my eyes at you.
know.
So that's good.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
My daughter taught me that. There's a difference.
And then the last thing that I just wanted to say is happy holidays to the community. Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, and then Happy New Year to everybody. I really do hope that 2026 is just full of prosperity and blessings and good health and all of that for not only the City of Topeka family, but also for the City of Topeka residents. And again, thank you all for everything as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Merry Christmas. Rick, anybody else have any questions?
Just, I know you don't like to brag about yourself, but what is you most proud of during your time of being here?
Relationships. I think that's the biggest thing that I will walk away from. Things will be built that I won't have any personal contact with, but in preparing for those successes, I had to have relationships with people who were making them happen. And that's the thing I walk away from, is with most are the relationships that I've been privileged to have. Never would have met Jane Murray, who is my executive assistant. She has been amazing for not just me for the efficiency of the office, but she's been a real friend. There have been times when we've just sat in the office and just talked about stuff and bounced things back and forth. Those are the kinds of things that have to happen. There are so many good people in this town. That's why it's so important for us to focus on the positive, because there's just so many good people in this town. It's the relationships that I feel that I've been privileged to have now.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further?
So with Hotel Topeka, do you think it's all been worth it at this point with all that's gone on with it?
Well, I think that it's been worth it because you have to be able to see down the road. You can't just say, well, this year we lost this much money and why did we even try? I predict in two years max, your people are going to be saying, well, I can see sense of it now because this is happening. We're having that function down there. We're using the monies that will be generated to help supplement our costs to run the city, to prepare to take care of the roads and everything. The thought that some folks lose track of is that's tax money coming in to the city that our citizens don't have to pay. So we're trying to get some tax relief, as it were, in that sense, to help others share the burden, and they share it by enjoying our city and what we have available. So yeah, I think it's been worth it. It hasn't been easy. It take a lot of criticism, and you can expect that. But I won't be doing I told you so, but I think I'll have a big smile on my face when we see all the benefits of the efforts that have been put forward to bring that hotel to a place that really will serve the community. Nothing else? Well, I thank you. And again, as the city manager said, have a safe Merry Christmas and holiday and New Year's. Enjoy your time with your family. Those are the people that are really important. So thank you again for attending.
Thank you.